Welcome to everyone. Thank you to be there. Today we will have the last educational event series of the PRELUDE project, which is a final event on the educational tasks organized around the project, and is a sort of recap of the majority of the work done in the dissemination and parts that present smart building application, low energy building, free running building, and so on, indoor quality, indoor environmental quality in a smart vision. The event will be recorded. Before all, I need to give some institutional greetings. Professor Michele Bonino, head of the Department of Architecture Design, he will join us near the end of the meeting. Now he's with the rector in one of these academic senate, but clearly say welcome to every one of you. I also need to make an institutional greeting by Professor Tiziano Bianchi, which is the responsible for the master degree in telecommunication, ICT, engineering for smart society, which is from the Department of Electrical and the various parts correlated to smart building, Polytechnic of Turin. I also need to thank and have an institutional greeting by Giovanni Borgarello from the Piedmont region, which is part of the advisory board of the PRELUDE project, and is also will coordinate the second part of this event. The event today is organized in two parts. The first one is about a general outcome from the PRELUDE project. We will have a speech by Michal Pomianowski, which is a professor at the Aalborg University, and he is also the responsible of the PRELUDE project in general. He will slightly introduce the project and also introduce some main outcome and lesson learned for the Danish demo cases of the PRELUDE project, so we will touch with hand the result of research activity. After that, we will have a speech by me that will shortly introduce in English the result of the educational activities, the three aspects that we will look at together in these years. And furthermore, after this part, we will have a second part, which is held in Italian, which is a workshop with a teacher and recognized expert in the educational division part. And this is mainly correlated to the result of a large citizen science that involved 6 schools during the last 2 years in the Piedmont region. Last but not least, we will open the final exhibition for all the educational result in the PRELUDE project with aperitif all together. So thank you for the attention. I will leave the floor to Michal Pomianowski.
So welcome everyone to this event. It's a pleasure to present for the second time. And today I will focus on activities that actually quite well align with the objective and motivation for the entire PRELUDE project, and I will focus on the activities that we have carried out in Denmark by Aalborg University. The project, the presentation title is Data-Driven Methodologies for Building Efficiency Assessment within District Heating, and this is exactly what we've been focusing on, among other things, in the project. And I hope this presentation will be relevant for the audience, for the students, and I could see that there are students working with the smart technologies in the buildings, with ICT, etc. So I have a feeling that this presentation will match quite well with the expertise of the audience. In general, the project PRELUDE was focusing on these following themes: realizing energy efficiency, data-driven building assessment, data transferability, different building smartness inclusion from low tech buildings without automation through low automation buildings up to high automation and smart buildings with actuators, etc. And then also adaptable solutions. So this means a kind of a modular approach for the building that can be kind of flexible for the building needs. All of these things you can read more in the webpage that we have, PRELUDE project. You can enter there and you will see some of the deliverables and what the project is about. With respect to the activities that Aalborg University have been working, we actually, I would say, go along all of the focus points that are listed here on this slide. Regarding the realization of the energy efficiency, we've been working with the smart heat meter data from buildings. This is a real data, so it means when we work with this data, it's about actually realizing energy efficiency. It's not about simulations and theories, etc. It's about seeing if the buildings are efficient, inefficient, and what can we do with the data, and what can we do actually for the building stock that is in operation, and that is connected in our case to the district heating. Then we have a data-driven building assessment. We have this data that is today available from smart heat meters, and this so far has not been used for so much other than billing. And what we've been doing here in this project, we've been doing research. What could be the novel use of this data, and how can we actually create a knowledge that can help us to assess buildings. Then the next point, data transferability. Well, we have the energy meters in the buildings, and we need to transfer this data, and we need to keep it stored, and we need to pre-process the data before we can actually analyze the data. So we also work with this subject a lot. Then we have different building smartness inclusion. By considering the smart heat meter data, we actually consider a whole palette, whole range of buildings, for those who are low automated, no automated, to a high automated, because all of these buildings have, if they are district heating connected, they have smart heat meters. So this is applicable to all of the buildings. And then adaptable solution. Well, our approach is in a way adaptable. In a way, if the building have a smart heat meter data, then we can work with this data and do a lot of new things with this data, which I will show you today in the presentation. What was the motivation, and what are the let's say potentials for the presented work? We can see that. At the moment, I will just change a little bit here so I can see better the screen. Yes, we have, in general, we have a rollout of smart heat meters that was driven by the Energy Efficiency Directive. And the first smart heat meters begin to be installed 2017, somewhere there in Denmark. And then you can see here some kind of a timeline of expected integration of the smart meters into the buildings, and you can see 2020 there must be reading of the heat consumption every 3 months. Then in 22 there must be read heat energy by every month. Then we are in 2024, so this is the current situation. And in the future, we will we expect to have every home with a remotely readable heat and hot water meter and monthly reading. In Danish scenario and district heating connected buildings, actually, the buildings have all of them have almost all of them, not all of them, but majority of them today have a smart heat meter that is logging heat, temperatures, flow with hourly resolution. So that's quite a lot of data. And with this new data comes possibilities, but also comes challenges, how to actually work with around this data. And yes, European Commission has in a way imposed this requirement that we have the smart heat meters. They are not smart, but they are logging a lot of data. And then what are the possibilities? Well, we have data itself. And so far, as mentioned, this data has been used for billing, which is okay, which is fair, but there is more that can be actually done having this data. We can use this data to bring awareness to building owners, to tenants. We can detect users' behavior, their behavior change because of something has happened in the building. We can see that through the building, through this data. We can also carry out fault detections. We can promote and facilitate data-driven decisions. We can map critical customers connected to the grid. And finally, we can, if having sufficient data quality and granularity, we can also try to do a machine learning. And this is something that is starting at the moment. Actually, when I give the presentation, we can see the first research trying to do the machine learning. Then what are the challenges? Well, we need to store the data somehow. We need to pre-process the data. We collect the total heat, which means we often collect the heat that is both for space heating and domestic hot water. And if we want to know what is the heat used for each, then we need to come up with methodologies that can split space heating and domestic hot water from total heat. And then finally, we need to change the data into knowledge, and this knowledge will enable us different analyses. For example, clustering of the customer, so different types of customers connected to the grid. We can use some smart algorithms to analyze the data series. Then we can link the smart heat meter data with some other data, some other information, some kind of boundary condition or fault reports, and generate even higher level knowledge and insight into the building assessment. In our case, in Denmark, we've been working with different data series or data samples. We have been given access to the majority of the buildings connected to the district heating connected clients in area of Aalborg, which is a city in northern part of Denmark. In that way, we have a large data set that is around 20,000 households, 20,000 smart heat meters. These data we have for approximately 2 years, 2020 and 2021. And this data, as mentioned before, is hourly data. It is rounded down to integer and full kilowatt hour. And then on top of the energy, we also have temperatures and flows. Moreover, we have used some special data from Aalborg apartments, 28 apartments, with detailed data, which we have used for the validation of our methodologies that I will show you in a minute, that were about splitting the space heating from domestic hot water. And these special data from the 28 apartments we use to validate the algorithms that we've been developing. And for that, we have used data with hourly resolution, but with decimals on kilowatt hour data. So it means we have something behind the comma. And finally, we have get access to unique fault reports from a large number of buildings connected to district heatings, more than 500 buildings with 500 fault reports after the inspection of the situation in the buildings. And we've been working about combining these fault reports and smart heat meter data. And I will show you later in the presentation some of the results. So initial work before we started the Prelude, we have been working with the smart heat meter data as recorded by today's smart heat meters. And the one of the problem or the issue was that, as mentioned, the data comes with full kilowatt hours. And then it means the data is truncated to full kilowatt hour. And this is maybe not the big problem if you have a large energy consumption. Then this full integer is maybe not a big issue. But if you if you have a single family house or just one household with each energy meter, then this 1 kilowatt hour actually creates a substantial energy share, and then it creates a certain uncertainty in the analysis. The second challenge was that we got heat collected together for space heating and domestic hot water. This you can see on this heat signature figure on the right side. And then very often we simply do not know what we are using the energy for. Is it for space heating or for domestic hot water, which limits our assessment of the performance of the building and, for example, possibility to give a fine-tune renovation recommendation for the building. And driven by these challenges, we have developed methodologies. First, we have developed the algorithm, a method to detruncate the data from the smart heat meters, which means we simply took the data and we have found a method to add decimal places to these data. That was necessary to get a better idea of actual energy use in time in the households. And then when we had this method, we developed the method, another algorithm method that allowed us to split total heat into space heating and domestic hot water. These methods are well described in publications. If you are interested in that subject, you can use the QR codes here, and you can access these researches or contact me for further details. Then what we did also, we did the validation of these methods that we developed, and we actually could see, I will not go so much into the detail, but we could see that the lack of decimal places in the current data, in smart heat meter data, creates a substantial problem. This leads us to quite significant error when we want to split the total heat to space heating and domestic hot water. Therefore, the method that we have developed to detruncate this data is actually very beneficial. And here I present you only some of the results. I will not go here into detail, but we actually developed even a better method that takes into account the logging from the water meters, and this gives us even better results, just to let you know. And here is also a conclusion for the manufacturers or to the district heating companies that for the future, if they want to open for better assessment of the buildings, they should reconsider to log the data with decimals and not with full integer, so with full kilowatt hours. Further on in the project, we've been dealing with long data series, and these are difficult to analyze. So for the purpose of the analysis, simply the practical or more commercial needs, we've developed a web tool where we can import the SQL the data from the SQL database. We can import to the web tool. We can pre-process the data, and then using different key performance indicators defined in the project, we can visualize the results, and we can carry out the analysis of the building performance just by in a smart way visualizing the flow, temperature, and energy relation. Among other things, this tool that we have developed allows us to map the customers. So using the maps, we can identify the critical customers. We can visualize the disaggregated heat for space heating and domestic hot water using the algorithm that I mentioned to you. We can track for example, poor customers that have a bad cooling of the district heating water. And then we can also, among other things, we can see the buildings with maybe some kind of a problem and overflow in their heating installations. These are just examples of the things that the web tool is able to do. Finally, the last activity that I mentioned to you is the use of the fault reports. In this project, we got an access to more than 500 fault reports from the inspected buildings, and together with the smart heat meter data, we could identify if there is a link between some kind of a fault patterns for return temperature, volume, or energy, and where do they belong to? So do they belong to radiator system, floor heating, domestic hot water? And after studying the data series, we could identify 4 following fault patterns in the installations. The first one was the degradation that you can see here in the left upper corner, where you can see the parameter is just degrading. In this case, it's a return temperature, so we can see the customer has increase in the return temperature over a long time. Then the second fault pattern was the stroke, where suddenly the return temperature would increase. The third one was the level shift, where from one temperature, the temperature would change and stay high afterwards. And then the last one is the level shift with degradation, which means the temperature increases suddenly, and then over a longer period of time, it degrades even further. So these are the 4 patterns that we could see from the data. And then we tried to link these patterns with the faults observed in the real installations in the buildings, and what do they actually mean. And surprisingly, we could see that, for example, there is increase in energy use, but only for the radiators. So when the fault is observed in the radiator system, then we can see actually that the energy is increased. But if the fault is, for example, in the towel dryers, so the small radiators in the bathroom, or if the fault is present in the underfloor heating or any type of installation with the domestic hot water, then we cannot see the increase of energy. But we could see, for example, high return temperature, which is not good for a district heating operation. So that is something that is very interesting, and we are currently actually doing the further research on that, and we have started a national project that is focusing on faults in district heating connected buildings, and we are trying to collect these faults. We will try to collect them in more standard manner, so that we can actually create a large database with the data of faults and smart heat meter data that can, in the future, be used for the machine learning, and then automated fault detections in the building, hopefully. To conclude, what we managed to obtain and achieve in the PRELUDE project, we have identified methods to pre-process data series of smart heat meter data. We have developed methods to split total heat to space heating and domestic hot water, and we have validated these methods. We have identified several key performance indicators, and we have developed graphical methods to facilitate the analysis of long smart heat meter data series. We have identified and standardized method to collect faults from district heating connected buildings by using the standard reports. And we have carried out classification of fault patterns. Finally, we have assigned fault patterns to the fault location, and we hope that in the future we can do this more automatically using the machine learning. Thank you for your attention. If you are interested more into the PRELUDE project, please visit our website or contact me for any further information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michal. It was very, very useful and interesting. Also, several of the students that are there, they will work on the energy signature, this type of profiles. So it was very interesting to see how this type of KPI go in future direction.
Yes. To add, actually, if you are working on the heat signature, we have a publication under review at the moment that will be hopefully published soon, that is proposing a new approach for the heat signature, not linear, but sigmoid, which should capture in a better way the characteristic of heat system in the building. So in operation of the heating system in a building. We can see a better fit actually when we use the sigmoids for some buildings.
Wow, yes. Thank you again. I think
Thank you very much.
We can proceed with the second presentation in the English part, and after, if there are questions, we are about that. So the second presentation is about the result of the PRELUDE educational activities and the citizen science, which are not part of the main innovation action of the project, but that in any case has followed the project for along the 4 years of activities, disseminating and also investigating some of the project challenges and topics with students at different levels. The educational works that has been conducted can be organized around 3 main axes. The organization of an educational event series with 7 events, plus the event of today, the organization of 10 educational projects, which is done by university students from POLITO, brought from architectural and from telecommunication engineering domains, working on smart building, bioclimatic building, and other challenges. Last but not least, there is the citizen science, which is a medium to large action in this sense, involving 6 middle and high schools for the Piedmont region and reaching more than 1,500 students, half of which has also followed lectures, participated actively to the activity. To recap, the educational event series is based on 7 conferences. We meet more than 300 people and collect 25 speeches, several of which are also done by more than one speaker, so you can imagine we had a large amount of involved people. Speakers come from academic domain, but also from companies and industries, working mainly in smart building, low energy building, and on free-running building management. As you can see, by the topic that we treated, this action is mainly active since 2023 and 2024. So we spoke about proactive forecasting of minimization in intelligence building. We have also analyzed with experts the free-running zero energy buildings and climate correlated solution. We support also urban climate dimension and topics. We further focalize on the climate point of view, also on climate change resilience, and how to manage this at large level to support policy. We have also analyzed parametric, environmental, and smart solutions for building retrofitting, including also some of the outcome of the project, like Epicure Plus platform developed by the Estia company and other solutions, right, from STAM and etc. We also look in detail about the approach followed for building monitoring, proactive control, the smart solution, looking also at how to build and how to support work in intelligent building and digital twin platform, how we can treat the data, which has the current challenges on privacy point of view, on big data management and so on. And we are also speaking about complex and advanced proactive control logic for smart solution. That's thanks to external speakers and also from several speakers within the PRELUDE consortium, which is very large with 21 partners. The educational projects are 10 projects developed in, we can say, in a 4-year span. It involved 22 students mainly and 2 different backgrounds. We are students for architecture and mainly students for telecommunication engineering. The last year, ICT for Smart Society. The topics that are treated are design optimization studies, sensitivity analysis and parametric simulation platform with 4 projects, 2 from engineering, 2 from architects. We have the development of monitoring in Internet of Things cloud accessible system for comfort, thermal comfort and multi-comfort projects. This is mainly telecommunication transdisciplinary works. With the development clearly of, what you can say, prototypes, the testing of prototypes in real building, It's clearly a parallel approach to the one commercially developed within the project, no? But it is in any case something that focuses mainly on small, still open challenges, to look at innovative way and especially to disseminate a DigiRate vision, okay, in the next generation and in the new profession. Furthermore, we are working about actuation and operational building management. That's mainly about one project on FTSE logic application into building control. After that, we have one more project about the development of occupancy profiles via automatic data analysis using mobile phone applications developed by students and tested with different level of privacy that has been agreed by the tester. After that, we also have two projects that looks about climate change, urban climate dimension, and the fact to develop cloud-accessible weather monitoring station that need to be done. We have a prototype also at low cost, but with professional sense. That's clearly, we have two exhibitions. The last one will open today when we end this event. As we have seen, some of these results, some of these educational projects also, almost all are reached a level that can be potentially publicable in the next future in devoted papers. Until now we had the time to develop one from the first of this project, so we are 3 years ago. And what we are quite happy about is that this paper in a couple of years reached already more than 3,600 visualization, okay, and 9 Scopus quotation, which is quite a lot for clearly a student-developed project. In addition to that, as we say, we mainly have project correlated. You will see about design optimization. Some of them are very correlated on tools and scripting connected to architectural domain. Other is the addition to that of surrogate modeling development, energy plus management via Python coding, and so on, which is topic more correlated to the telecommunication engineers, at least for the ICT in building design that we look together. Similar to that, clearly there is the development of customized user occupancy profile to directly feed parallel digital twin models in the smart building domain. Furthermore, we have climate change, looking at weather data collection mainly. On the one side, the development of weather station, cloud connected, low cost. On the other side, the use and the development of code and platform to what? To support the automatic downloading and analyzing of big data coming from open source weather station positioned on the Turin, in this case, Turin environment, but the code can be applied to several other cities in order to study urbanity island and climate trends. Near to that, there is a FTSE logic application to controlling a free-running building to suggest user how to optimize ventilation, shading, and all of these aspects correlated to building comfort optimization at low energy cost. Finally, we have the multi-comfort citizen science platform developed with sensor and visualization in GUI. And that is a sort of preliminary vision of what we apply after in the citizen science. And after that, the development of smart building predictive involved predictive PPT monitoring platform with visual interfaces again. At the end, we had developed a citizen science, 6 schools, more than 600 students directly involved in lecture and activity and several creation. In reality, the students almost double or more because some of the sensors are located in laboratories which are used by larger schools, so the audience is very large. This work is still active after 2 years, okay? And the scope is to disseminate clearly smart building culture, but especially to look, discuss, and activate people on improving and knowing the indoor environmental quality and indoor air quality in confined spaces, with the scope to suggest and use together measurement solution, smart cloud solution, supporting the next vision of smart building. In addition to that, we clearly also discuss about key performance indicator, and also we involve the people to look and understand the quality of the air and the environmental quality of their spaces. Clearly, thanks to Giovanni Borgarello, we will see after, and to the Piedmont region to support this activity in the advisory board member of the PRELUDE project. The citizen science, we will try to look here something about the technical aspect, and we will see the result in the workshop. The citizen science, mainly technical aspect, is correlated to the identification clearly of a measuring sensor, because before starting everything we need to know the state of the spaces, of the classroom, of the laboratory, of the houses, in line with the PRELUDE project also, and we need after to install sensor in order to collect the data and further to suggest to people to do something. But clearly before we need to know and measure. To do that, we have identified monitoring solution able to support these specific requirements. So they need to be, at the beginning we were thinking to use self-development monitoring station developed by the students. We have worked with the telecommunication engineers to develop prototypes and testing them. At the end, due to some complexity, because these type of sensors are self-built, but to put them in a school may open issue because they do not have, proper documentation, they do not have certificates clearly. So to be sure that all of the school will accept them, we pass to commercial solution. We correlate them for what it is possible to PRELUDE monitoring system already existent to support a better integration without so many additional efforts. In addition to that, clearly these sensors need to measure minimal indoor environmental quality, indoor air quality variables, including CO2 concentration, clearly air temperature, relative humidity, and other potential indoor air quality variables like total VOC, particulate matter, so DPM, so discussed today in Turin especially, and thermal transmission, the U value of wall, a lot of extra additional elements that can be discussed with students further. In addition to that, the CO2 sensor as the minimum need to have an alerting solution, because otherwise we can ask to students participating to the citizen science to improve the indoor air quality, acting, for example, in opening the window. So this sensor need to have a LED or an alert or something suggesting to students to do, to activate them when the CO2 concentration grow too much over a certain threshold. At the beginning, we were thinking to use sound alerts. After that, discussing, some of the teachers already have used that, was not so happy, because it was a bit, you can say, disturbing in some cases. So we try to have a less, you can say, strong alerting support, and we use this sort of sensor that integrate LEDs blinking. We see that that's almost work, but clearly one of the results we will see, I anticipate, would be that in the future we need to have bigger, you can say, visualization of the problem. Otherwise, if it is too small, the LED, we can lost a bit the attention of it. So, or we need to use the big lamp like in fire security, or we need to use something that has a small alert, sound alert, at a certain very higher level. In addition to that, clearly the sensor need to allow storage, cloud connection, redundancy of data to not lose data when possible, or if the interconnection is lost, etc. We also reduced at the minimum the electrical plug, because free electrical plug, that can be used in school or in general in public spaces are not so diffused. Okay, so to facilitate the installation, we use sensor that has battery with a long lifespan, but that are also professional to not lose data, they have high quality, and only the gateway are plugged. And also this is autonomous from the internet connection, because we know, okay, there is the local Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi may lose the connection, maybe this type of thing. So we need to have something that works as much as possible everywhere. So 7 gateways have been installed, 41 CO2 probes, and more than 18 additional sensors. The measured variable we say is CO2, total VOC, PM10, PM2.5 concentration, air temperature, humidity, atmospheric pressure, and we also have some sensor for wall thermal transmission, cloud connected, at least to discuss what does it mean to have insulated and non-insulated buildings and measure them. The fact that we use multi-indoor air quality variable is quite important, because the post-COVID pandemic situation in indoor air quality has clearly opened a discussion in school and public environment of the indoor air quality level. And we also have seen in some of the Italian ministerial, at least, recommendation lines, the CO2 is not one of the first suggested tracking glasses, even if it is one of the simpler to be measured, at least in this type of environment. and it is correlated to the occupancy. So we also install a total VOC, PM, and other of the suggested sensor. No? And during the discussion, we also have seen, thanks to the result, that in reality CO2 is correlated to the indoor air quality and is connected to the presence of people, while clearly TVOC is correlated to other type of emission. It's not emitted by the people mainly. So the issue in this case may be that if we trust on total VOC, no, we can not exchange the air where the people are in, for example. We may exchange the air when people are washing the room. Okay, so after the occupancy. So potentially CO2 can be a good gas tracker, as it is, for example, used in other countries like French and Switzerland. We use in this case for KPI to restitute the main result on the indoor air quality, the ICON method adopted in France mainly and further also used in Switzerland. We highlight the threshold in that way. We know that in France by this year they reduce even more the requirement. They pass to 1,500, okay? But for Italian school in which we have free ventilation, no, it's natural ventilated only, no mechanical ventilation, to maintain so low level, 1,500 is very complex, okay? So we maintain this 1,700 as general threshold, knowing, like it is also in Switzerland, that below 2,000 is totally acceptable, okay? It's not dangerous, okay? It's a question of age of the hair or something like that. The pipeline of our citizen science is organized like that. We first discuss with the involved school, we define an inspection to check together where localize the sensor, to understand how many sensors we need and which are the involved classroom. After that, we install the sensor. We go physically there, we're in the selected room. We define where to put the sensor in general. We also thank all the school that participate, the teacher and everyone, because that's clearly a shared work. After that, the sensors are left monitoring without giving any type of alerting for 1 month or more in order to collect a benchmark, not to have an idea of how each rooms and school act on indoor air quality. And the behavior are very different, school by school or even room by room. These help, for example, in avoiding the fact that we put thresholds that are very difficult to be followed, and no one wants to have the LED always on. And also no one wants to have on only a few moments of the year, because in that way the attention has been lost. No, we would be lost on this point of view. So we need to align a bit these things. Prepare this part, we had in the middle school lecture to disseminate to students what it is the indoor air quality, what are smart building, etc. But also to open this citizen science, making them conscious of which are the quality of the air in their room, making them conscious of what are the effects if they behave inside the classroom in a certain way. And after that, both in high school and middle school, we activate the LEDs in order to support the start of the citizen science, where people follow the suggestion and open the window when needed to control indoor air quality without losing energy, so avoid over-ventilation, but also without making the fact that indoor air quality will become terribly bad for the whole morning. In some cases, we define the threshold with students, like a gamification approach. In the second year, so the current year, we all set to 1,700. After the students work and do this self-actuation for months or for weeks, according to the time that we are defining with the teacher, and after all the same year or the year immediately the year after, we are restituted to students, the one that participate in the first year at least of the activity, the result. So if they are being good or not, if they can improve even more, and we discuss to them in order not to improve better the second year of the activity. Clearly, in all of the school, it was optional. In reality, all the school has accepted this time. The sensor is still active, will remain active also after the PRELUDE project till the end of the school year, and has been active in the 3 schools involved in the first year for the whole period. So we have design, installation, benchmark, lecture and LEDs, self-actuation and restitution. To give an idea what arrives, that's an example of one of the sensors installed last year with the citizen science. In blue, we see the moment in which we have lecture and LEDs activation, and you immediately see by this restitution, that's average CO2 level at the early level, so we don't see the peak, okay, in reality. But we still see that at the beginning, we have a lot of moments in which for the whole hour, or for more than 1 hour, one after the other, the school and the people are exposed to more than 3,000 parts per million. Okay, so that's quite a lot. And we immediately see that after the activation of the LED sensor, after the blue line, in several of the classrooms, not everywhere, okay, but where the teacher especially, but also the student are more active, the quality of the air improve a lot. It's very visible. And we can also see these represented in another type of graph, like that one, in which we see the period 0 is the benchmark, so no LED activation. We immediately see that at least 20% of the time, this classroom is exposed to, roughly speaking, in between 2,000 to 3,500 parts per million. And in several cases, we have seen before, this is very high, very near the 3,000. After the LED activation, in the first month of activity, we see that this percentage is passed from 20% in this specific case to 5%. Look at the red part. No? So the improvement is very visible, it's very good. And if we look at what arrives in the long test, in the last period, it's true that we go till the hot season, so potentially it's also less a problem to have the window open for more time, but we immediately see that this red part disappears with a very good, we can say, application and results. That's a very positive case. We have several other positive cases. We have seen that in 75% of the classroom in which student has been involved with the lecture, the indoor air quality improve significantly. But we still have some classroom when this does not arrive, but that may be. No one is obliged, there is no sound, there is not noise that block you to maintain the window closed. But that's very positive result. If you extend it also to the laboratory in the high school, where clearly we cannot meet all the students because there may be hundreds of students that use the same lab, this reduces a bit this applicability because not all of the students know, not all of the people follow this application. But in any case, on the general point of view, the results are very positive, not for this simple citizen science application. So we see that with that approach we can improve the indoor air quality. In several cases, the indoor air quality is also maintaining a very high level, so not so far to what we reach in 3 classrooms that we have like benchmark in which we have installed a mechanical ventilation system thanks to another project. So the level is quite well controlled. Clearly, it's very important, it's very complex to maintain the attention of the students, of the teaching over time. So to not lose after 1 month or after some weeks from the lecture the fact that you need to remind to look at this sensor and eventually to act on the LED activation. The other things that we clearly get is that CO2 is very significant as gas tracer, as also confirmed in some national regulation in other member states. And that potentially is better than others, not because the total VOC potential is more dangerous, okay, than CO2 in terms for the people, but it's very complex to manage a total VOC sensor because there are too many. It's very difficult to know which sensor gets something, what is the others, okay, especially for conventional solution that does not give to you all the list of gases, etc. And also they are not, for sure, emitted when people are in. So if you have high total VOC when no one is in the room, it's a bit less important that if you don't control the air when people are in the room itself, so for not losing the attention and so on. We also have seen that it's very important to disseminate to students and to the next generation smart building, indoor air quality, environmental quality topics, because thanks to a questionnaire that we diffuse, we disseminate, we reached hundreds of replies. Okay, by this question, we have seen that more than 80% of the students have never heard about smart building before, never know about smart building in general before, or has never even heard about indoor air quality, thermal comfort, etc. So it's quite important not to disseminate this fact. Clearly, the majority of them has known about indoor air quality. There is only 40-45% that does not know what it is. That's thanks mainly to school, because we say that indoor air quality is discussed in school, while clearly thermal comfort, for the few one that has heard about this topic, is discussed at home. That's one of the results that we have. But in any case, it's interesting to disseminate it because clearly we know smart building is quite important and at least will grow in the future. One of the limitations, lesson learned that we have in terms of challenges is clearly the involvement. It's not easy to maintain high the level. It's also quite important to maintain the fact that installing this type of sensor and programming and making the sensor working with the student is more complex and require more time than the expected one. Okay, that's something to be always reminded. Furthermore, it may be very useful in the future to use also graphical user interface, so something that reacts with the students, on which they can show and have not only an idea now the indoor air quality is not good, but potentially you can have an idea of the past week in order to have a sort of recap and maintain high attention during a sort of gamification approach. Or adding extra alert like sounds of very large light when very high CO2 concentration is reached. So on a general point of view, I think the educational activity of the PRELUDE project reached very high results on the lecture point of view. On the educational project point of view, on the citizen science, we reach really a lot of students. They look almost all very happy about the experience. But I think you will also see directly, because in the exhibition you will see some of these outcomes. I will leave the floor to JahaniRahaei, which is an architect working with me at POLITO, as a research fellow, and will a bit introduce the exhibition, okay? So we'll have the general introduction of the exhibition. After, I know you go down to the exhibition and someone will start to look at it, while in parallel we will start the workshop in Italian.
Okay, hello everybody. Okay, thanks to Giacomo. So, as he mentioned, we will have the exhibition starting from after this lecture downstairs, exactly behind under this room, which is the Sala delle Colonne, which will the exhibition extended for 3 days. So it will be open also tomorrow and the day after on the Friday. And then, so as mentioned, just to recap very fast, in the educational activities, we have three main actions, which were the event series, and then the projects and the citizen science, which what you expect to see on the exhibition will be for each of these parts. For the event series, which we had like 7 different series, including today was the 8th one. All the series, all the lectures have been recorded and also published on the YouTube channel of the PRELUDE Educational series. So they are accessible on the monitor, so you can listen and also see the written summarized version of each event. And then also you will see the 10 projects for the educational projects, including the master's thesis for the both architectural students and also ICT. And it would be a very good opportunity for the other students to interact with probably some of the students of these projects can visit and attend the exhibition, so you can have an interaction and a connection with them. And then at last, you saw already some of the results of the citizen science. You will see the extended version of the results for the citizen science and also some extended results for other parts of the PRELUDE project for the deliverable 8.5 and the 7.7 which we had, and which all will be opened in the next few days till Friday afternoon. And also for the next part, as we have the Italian, in the round table in Italian, the students who are not following that part can attend the exhibition from right now. And then after that, at 5, we have the official opening of the exhibition downstairs here in Sala delle Colonne. Thank you so much, and I think we are done.
Thank you, Ali, for having presented the exhibition. Thank you to everyone for having participated to this English part of the event. We will now continue to the workshop with the involved school in the educational event and in the citizen science action, and to all the audience that is interested in discussing citizen science and application of indoor environmental quality, Asian monitoring and school building and in public building in general. This part of the event, being in Italian, is not recorded. Nevertheless, the exhibition is already open by now, and if you are interested, you can start visiting it. Nevertheless, immediately after the Italian workshop, we will all move to the exhibition room, and we will have the official opening ceremony and the networking catering event. Thank you again to everyone for having participated to this PRELUDE event. Stay tuned with the last PRELUDE output and reporting on the PRELUDE site. Thank you.